Hey, Nathan Drake here. You know, while I'm out climbing every rock I can find, I always enjoy listening to the latest podcast from the PSBG Podcast Network. Oh, yeah!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another E3 recap podcast featuring me, Kevin Austin. Tonight, it's going to be a little bit different. It's actually just me this evening, which is a little weird, a little daunting, if you will, but I think I'm up to the task here. And that's because I'm tackling what was most arguably the most unique presentation of E3, the easiest one to tackle alone to recap, however else you want to word it. But either way, I'm here to talk about Square Enix's press conference that took place yesterday. Let's see. Square Enix did a Nintendo Direct style presentation. So we were able to see that live as it went unfolded. So it was pre-recorded, which is easier to control and contain as you see stuff go on. You see the trailers. There's no technical glitches. Most of the time, everything just runs smooth. You'd think that was the case. If you were to say, hey, Kevin, I'd like to ask you what you thought of Square Enix's presentation yesterday. I think it's best if I summarize it as this. Yeah, they did a thing. But enough with the jokes. They did have some announcements. However, a lot of the news, if not almost all the news Square Enix brought to the table, we already heard, we already saw. Some we already saw this E3 already, even though this was day 2 and this took place. Started off with a great trailer for Shadow of the Tomb Raider, so I won't take away from that. This series has been fantastic. The last one was received well, but didn't do as well, and I think that had a lot to do with Microsoft's exclusive deal with it, so that it was just on Xbox for quite some time. I think that really hurt the series. But everything Tomb Raider done as far as the game itself has been great. It's been drawn a lot of comparisons. That's basically the female Nathan Drake game from Uncharted. And I don't take that as an insult. A lot of people do, but it's great. Uncharted is a great series. This mirrors that with their own character, with a different style of gameplay, more stealth, bow and arrow versus Nate's Indiana Jones-esque type antics and stuff. So they showed this beautiful jungle. It's the Mayans. I believe it's Mayan temples or it's Aztec. I forget because Caroline had me thinking each of these different things here. But it's a lush jungle. You see jaguars and the creatures are involved as well as, your enemies that you encounter there. They've added a lot of new ways to stealth action and take out your enemies. Berserker arrows that can make enemies turn into friends to fight on your side. You have explosive arrows, stuff like that. Crafting is still a portion as you're on the fly. But you can also choose to just go stealth this entire game and just sneak from point A to point B, so you don't have to go in guns blazing and murder everybody in sight. You can kind of just tackle it much like Dishonored, where you can choose to go the passive route or the aggressive route. So that was there. It was a neat look at it, an extended look. We saw a little bit more than what we'd seen before. The developer says that the game will have the biggest hub ever created in a Tomb Raider game, and more tombs than ever before. So it just seems to be a bigger, better, badder version of the last 2 entries that they've done, which is nothing wrong with that. They've all been solid. So as long as they keep doing that formula, make little minor improvements, then it's going to be another big hit. And it's not limited to any exclusivity. It'll be out on all consoles at the same time. So this one, I imagine, will outperform the last one. For sure. So that was a highlight, I think, of the Square Enix presentation. Next up was another look at the awesome adventures of Captain Spirit, which is the spin-off story for Life is Strange. The developers said that Captain Spirit, which they actually first unveiled at Microsoft's conference, is intended to bridge the gaps between Season 1 of Life is Strange and the upcoming season 2 of Life is Strange, so not the prequel that we already had, but it's going to connect to the game somehow in a way we don't know yet. They see these games all as part of a bigger universe. They're building their own, Marvel-esque cinematic universe here with Life is Strange things, and this is just another character here. It's out as a complete free experience on June 26th, so it's a very short period of time. I'm going to wait a couple weeks here. I was not a fan of Life is Strange, but this one does seem intriguing. I like the story that we're seeing here, where it's a young boy, just lost his mother. The dad's, semi-present there, but obviously he's dealing with his own issues here as the boy is dealing with his issues. But it's very whimsical and lighthearted as he uses his imagination to bring him to these fantasy realms where he becomes a superhero and he's fighting, monsters. But then in reality, he's just in the backyard, attacking stuffed animals with a stick or something like that. It just seems whimsical. But obviously we'll have some darker undertones, I think, with the death of the mother. Like, I think there'll be a deep story underneath it all, but they're portraying it as a much light-hearted experience. So I'm digging that. I will definitely check that out when it comes out. But once again, it's something we already saw at Microsoft. They didn't really show us anything new at Square Enix's own conference there. Now, next one was a new game. So this is one of the things we had not seen before. This is from Platinum Games, being published by Square Enix. So Platinum had made Bayonetta, Vanquish, Nier Automata. And this game is called Babylon's Fall. We didn't see too much or anything for that matter as far as gameplay. It was a cinematic trailer, medieval dragons, monsters. So I think it's pretty safe to say that because Platinum Games is involved in their track record with the before mentioned games, it's going to be an action game, probably a little over the top, very crazy. No further information other than it's coming out in 2019. Considering we didn't see any gameplay at all, I think it's a safe bet for holiday, at least fall holiday of next year. So that was the thing, but that was one of the few things we had not had a heads up on that was coming out that was shown. Next was Just Cause 4 again. Okay. This is weird. All right, so Just Cause, obviously, somebody must be buying these games. It's on its 4th iteration. However, I don't know anybody that actually paid for Just Cause. Everybody either got it super, super cheap, like $5 at Redbox, or got it free with Games with Gold or PS Plus. They're fun games, but they're not what I would call good games. They're over-the-top, action-packed movie stars, explosions and planes and jets and, just craziness. Voice acting, in my opinion, I make fun of it all the time with the guys like Rico, very cheesy voice acting, in my opinion, as far as these characters, but they're back at it again. Biggest focus here was not on the story of the game, was not on the characters in the game, not even in the world that they created in this game. The entire focus was on weather. So they're adding weather effects. We already have these crazy things, explosions and whatnot, but we're adding in tornadoes. We saw lightning storms, all this kind of crazy stuff. And they just said they added a bunch of more functionality to Rico's grappling hook arm thingy, which, should make for some great experimentations. We see a lot of videos for Just Cause 3 where people do some crazy stunts, and that's kind of the highlight of the game versus actually playing the game is doing these crazy things. So it looks like this is just another way to go through. I don't know. I'm trying not to call this a stinker right off the bat because visually it looks cool. I like what they try and do, but they're never good games, so I don't expect much from this one here. And I call shenanigans if you have tornadoes and the craziness that this game already employs and do not have a way of making a Sharknado somehow, because that just needs to be a thing. Next up was another one that was a not previously before announced game, at least to my knowledge here. And it was deemed as a teaser, was The Quiet Man. So this trailer showed live action actors, and it looked like it was going to be something like Late Shift or something of that nature, where it was going to be actual people acting out the game and maybe you make your own choices, whatever the case is. But it turned away from that. And then it went into actual, I don't want to say gameplay, but went to CGI. And all you really know is that your character is deaf, but he can kick some ass. He kind of takes out these two thugs that are in the alleyway super easy without being able to communicate at all. I have no idea what this game's going to be about, where it's going, essentially, because if your main character is deaf and they want to point that out, I don't know how you can portray that in a game other than not making any noise at all, which I don't want to sit there and play a game that has no sound effects, no noise, no nothing going on because I'm that character. So we don't really know they're promising it's an immersive, story-driven, cinematic action-adventure, seamlessly blending in high-production live-action, realistic CG, and pulse-pounding action gameplay, since it's a movie-like experience that can be completed in one sitting. So it does sound like, as far as that's concerned, it's like late shift, which you can sit down and knock out in an hour or two. But yeah, it's going to blend live action with CGI action, with your main character being deaf. So we don't really know what that's about. We also got a trailer for Final Fantasy's Under the Moonlight update for the Final Fantasy Online, the MMO. No core Final Fantasy announcement, which is really disappointing thing for a lot of people. A lot of people are expecting something for Final Fantasy VII, or they thought, well, since it wasn't shown here, it was going to be shown at Sony's. Nope, wrong. Wasn't at Sony Showcase either. So no Final Fantasy games other than this expansion were shown. Doing a crossover event with Monster Hunter, where they're introducing the Final Fantasy characters in the Monster Hunter, so the continuing Monster Hunter world. There's little fun events they're doing to crossover stuff there too. We saw a little bit of Octopath Traveler as well, which was not shocking. I figured it was going to have a bigger presence there and not be shown at all at Nintendo's, but it was brought up briefly at Nintendo's to announce that there was a new demo coming. So Octopath is coming out very shortly. Looks great. I don't think they need to sell it anymore, so I was fine with that not being shown. But a little surprised there was nothing really Final Fantasy-esque from Square Enix, who we know to do this kind of stuff. The other thing they showed, I wanted to stop here, hey, Caroline's in the chat, and talk about is Kingdom Hearts. So Devin wanted me to address Kingdom Hearts here, and he told me to sell him on Kingdom Hearts because he hasn't played them, but he is a Disney guy. Seems like he's at least interested in the trailers we saw. But before I get to there, let's talk about what Square Enix showed for Kingdom Hearts at their own press conference. So the first trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3 came on Microsoft's main stage the day before. Showed some more of Toy Story World. We saw Rapunzel was there. We saw Arendelle from Frozen was there. We saw Elsa, Anna, Olaf. The whole categories. The game looks great. We saw those worlds. We saw Wreck-It Ralph. Little things like that there. So just more expansions of footage we kind of already seen and heard was going to be there, and it was okay. They kind of took out the music in that and only had the voice acting, which made it seem a little stiff. But Square Enix, had the opportunity to bring up Kingdom Hearts again during their press conference, and they did, by showing you the exact same trailer that was on Microsoft's main stage with nothing added. I don't understand how this is your game. This is a game that fans of Kingdom Hearts have been waiting 12, 13 years for at this point, and it's your game. You could show kind of whatever you want, whether it be a gameplay demo, whether it's a new trailer, and you didn't do that opportunity. Mind blown. Sony had it on theirs, and Sony actually had new footage from stuff we hadn't heard was on there. So Pirates of the Caribbean, which looked amazing, which is really what captured Devin's attention. Seth had mentioned as well that it caught his attention. It looked really cool because of Jack Sparrow being there, Elizabeth Swann, and all, the whole gang was there, and it just looked so cool. At Caroline's point on the chat, and you're right that there was very, very minor alterations. I'm about to have an altercation. In Square Enix's trailer, they did show Ratatouille in a brief little scene there, and there were a couple other very, very minor things, but I'm talking like 2-3 second snips. So nothing substantial was shown there. So why am I excited for Final Fantasy? Kingdom Hearts 3. So I played the first one when it came out, essentially. That was the first game I owned on the PS2. Played the heck out of that. Loved every moment of the second they announced Kingdom Hearts 2. All over that. Didn't like it as much. I'm not a big Roxas fan, if you're following the lore there, as I am with Sora, but it was still very good. And it gave me another opportunity to have that mix, that crossover of a game that's very much a Final Fantasy game infused in one of my favorite universes with Disney. Been waiting a long, long time for Kingdom Hearts 3, and it's here now. Well, almost. But it's on its way. We know we're closing the gap here, and we're getting ready to actually get in and dig in and play it. It's just something I've been waiting forever for. Now, the story is super convoluted. They did so many spin-offs to fill in the time while working on Kingdom Hearts 3, and all of them essentially do not affect the main timeline or storyline at all. It's always like a one-off story of a character who didn't exist. Now they exist and they're gone by the time this resolution of that game is over. Or you get to the end of the game and, oh, by the way, it was a dream. That didn't happen. Or it was an alternate universe. Don't worry about it. Didn't happen. So Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 is really all that matters. And then they did a Kingdom Hearts 2.8 final mix or whatever. That was the prequel to 3, which I think covers a little bit, but they said there'll be a video at the beginning of 3 to cover that stuff. So why I told Devin I wasn't going to sell him on Kingdom Hearts, knowing him and knowing how he plays, Devin, number one, you're never going to get through it. You have to play 1 and 2 before getting to 3. Otherwise, you are not going to have any idea of this story. The story is very hard to follow as it is. And just go. It's not for you, man. It's definitely not. Watch a video. When Kingdom Hearts 3 is done and people do like that whole cinematic version, you can watch it essentially as a movie. Do that. You'll enjoy that much, much more. From the outside, the best parts of Kingdom Hearts is looking at what worlds are in, what characters are there. Like, oh, hey, there's Mickey Mouse. Oh, hey, there's Winnie the Pooh. You want to experience those characters and have them for there. It's a game for people who love Disney, number one, which is fine. You love Disney, but it's also for fans who really enjoy the action turn that Final Fantasy has taken, not the turn-based combat or anything like that. Like this isn't that at all. It's an action RPG. You play through. They're long. You got to follow the story. It's more fun, I think, for people on the outside to watch and say, oh, hey, there's Mickey. Wait, Mickey's fighting? That's so weird. And Donald's a sorcerer and Goofy's a knight. Yes, those are all things, but it's not as easy. And ironically, it's not a game for kids. Unless they make this one super easy. These games were hard. It's not something I think my kids could even be at this age. I did order the remasters for 1 and 2. They're coming at the end of this month, early next month. And my 11-year-old wants to try and play through them. And I said, that's fine. You can go for it. But I think you're better off watching me play through if you want to do that. They're doing a love it. But yeah, Dev, man, it's not coming. It's not for you, man. Just sorry. I wish it better news for you. It's just, yeah. Not gonna happen. Sorry. All right. Still love you though. But anyway, Kingdom Hearts. Really excited for that one. That's the highlight of Square Enix for me. Tomb Raider obviously looks great. Tomb Raider always looks great, so no surprise there. We will see what happens, what comes with that. I expect it to sell much, much better. Interested in hearing more about The Quiet Man and what that actually is. But other than that, there really wasn't much going on in Square Enix that caught my attention, or for that matter, for the attention of a lot of gamers. They got a lot of crap for their presentation. It was very short. If you watched our live stream of it where we talked over it, we really didn't know what to say when it was done. We're like, wait, that's it. Okay, so I Square Enix, I love you guys. I love some of the games you make. Some of them. It's time to hang up the E3 hat, I think, and let your product be shown on the main stages versus your own. Do it for us. Do it for the gamers. Just stop. Stop. I do like that they did a direct style, but you got to have some content. You got to have some stats. You got to make me excited for the product that you have. And unfortunately, you didn't do that. You didn't make me excited for anything. For Kingdom Hearts 3, you don't have to sell that game to me, and somehow you made it not worth watching, but you didn't get me excited for a game I was already excited for. I don't know how you do that. You got to work hard to make me unexcited for something I'm already excited for, but they managed to do it. But anyway, I'll stop crapping on Square Enix. So I'm glad they did a presentation. We know that the relevance of E3 kind of is stripping away for some of these developers. We've seen it coming for the last couple of years. We've talked about it on the podcast. Does E3 still need to be a thing? Square Enix has kind of proven that no, it doesn't need to. Their games are still coming out. People are still talking about their games. We're talking about Octopath Traveler on Switch. We're talking about Tomb Raider for PS4 and Xbox. We're talking about Kingdom Hearts for those of us who've been waiting forever. And I bet you it will sell really, really well. And then a lot of people are going to be really confused by it. So, Devin, I'm just trying to avoid that for you, buddy. But yeah, it's Square. Let the console people sell your game for you, because they're doing a better job than you're doing yourself. So it's okay to step by. It's okay to let go. Keep making games though, because as gamers, we would love it if we never stopped gaming.